Hey guys, how's it going and welcome back. Well, Apple's decided to go into the moving forward for right to repair, and they're going to start us out with iPhone 12s and 13s, and of course then move us along into the M1 computers. So, what are we getting for parts? Well, there's really no total answer right now, but we can assume that at least for iPhones, we should be able to get cameras and screens and batteries for sure. Hopefully, we can get all the parts that we need because you never know what's going to go boom someday, right? And of course, M1 books, MacBooks, and the iMacs. I'm not sure what they're going to do about iMacs. That's going to be an interesting one. But the MacBooks, yeah, we should be able to get the batteries for sure, and who knows what else. Screens, maybe? Stuff that dies, right? Although, I gotta be honest with you guys, I've been buying Macs for decades. I've been involved with Apple computers since like 1981, 82. I started out in the Apple II era back then, and so I was around even for the beginning of the Mac. And I've owned a vast majority of the Macintosh line, and I've owned, well, every Apple II computer, anyways. So I've never actually experienced real problems myself with my own equipment, other than trying to do an upgrade, of course, to an SSD drive on my own late 2015 iMac, where it ended up with an issue taking the screen off, and something was really making it stick, and the screen got a crack in it. And unfortunately, though, Apple did fuse the display to the glass in the late 2015s, which kind of really sucks because at least a glass is under 200 bucks, but a whole darn screen direct from Apple, we're talking close to $800-900, $1,000. And to just go after a third-party 5K Retina display or a used one is just not practical for, very little difference in money, right? So it's kind of like, well, you know what? The computer's not even worth $1,000. I'm not going to bother putting a screen on it. Besides, what's the sense? I don't really see the crack at the right angles, and I do have to go through the notorious, clean off the screen with alcohol and wipe all the dust out of the crack every couple of days, but to me that's kind of worthwhile considering I'm going to be retiring that computer hopefully soon if all goes well, and I'll be moving into an M1 iMac, and I'm looking at the top tier model. But getting back to the whole right to repair thing, I think this is great for Apple to get on the bandwagon ahead of where it becomes an actual law, like global wide, where they're going to be forced into it. So they're actually kind of jumping in ahead of schedule, which is nice. And because they are one of the largest tech companies in the world, yeah, I think that's a good way to start bringing other people behind them to start saying, hey, we're going to do this. So what's Apple offering us other than parts? Well, the binding software for the new parts, because you know how Apple decided to go all, well, you can get the screen, but you're going to need the binding program to bind the new part to the device. And so we'll be able to get the software, teardown manuals, tools, the proper, correct tools for taking these things apart. And being on a consumer level, of course, it doesn't sound to me like we're going to have to buy those special heat trays and stuff, right, to start letting the adhesive go. So the right tools for the job should not have to involve any kind of heating up of the screen to loosen off any adhesion on the phones. And of course, they never did mention iPads in that write-up, so I'm not sure what they're going to do about that. Because, I wouldn't mind being able to upgrade the battery in my iPad Air 4, and going with an OEM battery or, maybe a third party if I can. We'll have to see what happens. But in the meantime, good of Apple to do that. But there's got to always be some downsides to all this. So what would the downsides possibly entail? Well, we don't know what it's going to take to get involved with Apple, for one, as a consumer level to get access to all this. Like, do we have to sign some kind of disclosure or whatever kind of thing that we won't crab at them if we screw it up? That would be a good idea, I think. Because, hey, let's face it, there are a lot of people who definitely are technically inclined and good with their hands, and they have patience, and they got steady hands, and they could do this. But there's equally a lot of people out there that have no flipping clue, yet they would like to be able to fix their own stuff. After all, the majority of the population on this planet is crabbing for right to repair on everything, period. And it's not just Apple products either. It's also your Android products, your laptops from PC manufacturers, especially. Because, desktops, way too easy. Anybody can work on a desktop. It's not that hard. But laptops are, of course, very scary at the best of times on some of them. I know I had a very nerve-wracking experience just popping the back cover off of my HP laptop that I had won from MDG to upgrade the RAM and the hard drive in it. In fact, I actually went to HP and I asked them for the teardowns on this so that I didn't miss out on any screws and I could get it off properly, because it's an unknown computer to me, right? And I've been a technician for over 30 years, but I don't know everything. Mind you, people on Amazon think I do, because I bought this RAM the one time not that long ago. In fact, it was, I think, for that laptop. And I keep getting asked, will this work in this? Will this work in that? Will this work in that? How do I know? I don't have your computer. Just Google the computer. Go to the manufacturer and type in your computer model and type in RAM upgrade, and it'll tell you what it can use. So yeah, I get a lot of Amazon questions on a lot of my Amazon reviews on products, and yeah, some of them I can answer easy, but I can't tell you if a particular RAM is going to work in your laptop just because you give me a partial model number, or even if you give me the full number. It's not my job to go look up your computer. It's your job to look it up to see if it's going to work or not. Realistically, come on. But anyways, I get some funny questions, let me tell you. There will be a video coming in one of these days on, some of the craziest questions I do get. But, so I talked to HP and I said, I'm going to need the teardown manual for it. We don't hand that out to customers. We can only hand it out to, people who are actual technicians. And I said, well, that's fine, because I am an Apple certified technician. You can call Apple yourself. And I'm also a certified PC technician as well, so I'm pretty sure I qualify there. How long have you been at it? 1990 for Apple, certified, and certified 93 for PC, and these are some of the companies I worked for, and you can check my references. Okay, fine, no problem. And I got my manual for the teardown of the laptop. But yeah, it was interesting. I had to go through all that rigmarole. Now, we won't have to go through that with Apple with the right to repair, and eventually HP, of course, is going to be extremely compliant when it does come to right to repair, because now you won't have to basically prove that you're an actual technician in order to get the materials you need. They'll just be able to get it to you. Now, whether we have to purchase that material or not, who knows? Parts and tools definitely going to have to purchase. The software for binding the Apple devices we're going to have to purchase. But I'm actually really hoping that all the companies actually make everybody basically do an electronic signature, just as part of the deal of we're going to sell you the parts, but you can't bark at us if you screw it up, right? Kind of that sort of thing. And that takes the legal onus off the company. Now, the company does have to agree to give a warranty on the replacement parts, and that they are perfectly operational, and that's the way it should be. But I think as far as a person doing the work themselves, especially someone who is not a technician but wants to do this to fix their own stuff, I think everybody, period, should be signing agreements to the effect that they will not hold the company responsible if they screw up their device. And believe me, it's not hard to, say forget to plug a connector in. Some of these phones have a lot of connection points just to get the screen off, and you also got to keep very mindful of the screw lengths, because Apple is notorious for using different screw lengths everywhere, so you got to know where each screw actually goes, and don't try forcing them down in the wrong way. Don't over tighten screws, because you'll break the screws, or you'll break the circuit you're trying to keep clamped down with a plate or whatever. There's got to be some sort of thing there to also protect the companies under the right to repair as well. So I think this is going to be an interesting unleashing of this new kind of thing for people. I mean, think of it this way. I mean, years ago, we used to be able to upgrade our RAM, our hard drives in Apple products, for example. No problem. We could do a lot of other things ourselves as customers. In the Apple II era, you could do whatever you wanted. It didn't matter. But then the Mac era came in, and yeah, things changed. But we were allowed, we could do upgrades and whatnot to our machines. But then all of a sudden, Apple a few years back says, well, no, we're going to solder on the hard drive. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. And they put little teeny weeny hard drives in, which are pointless. I see all kinds of laptops for sale now that have, the capability to run Monterey, but 128 gig hard drive. Like, are you kidding me? That is barely enough for Big Sur, fully loaded with GarageBand decked out and iMovie in there and your normal everyday programs. I mean, and you're almost out of space. You're not going to edit a 4K video on a 128 gig hard drive. It's just not happening, let alone running other programs. And even some of the Mac Pros, they come with very small hard drives too. But mind you, people still want big money for them. I don't get it. But anyways, so Apple takes away our capabilities and still supplying small little crummy hard drives. Well, then, of course, they did smarten up and started doing an 8x256 deal. Well, an 8x256, for somebody who's not doing a lot on their computer, that would be great for a basic level consumer computer. But anybody doing anything more on it, well, sorry, we need at least half to 1 terabyte or more just to the hard drive, and we should be able to put 16 gigs of RAM in there. But oh wait, Apple says if you want 16 gigs of RAM, and hey, we'll even go up to 2 or 4 terabyte for you inside, you're going to have to custom order that and pay our blood money. And it's like, really, that's not fair to the customer either. So we're not just going to have to fight a right to repair. I think the fight should also include getting rid of these soldered on components like hard drives and RAM. They need to continue to allow customers to update their own RAM and hard drives themselves. I mean, look at the iMac M1. 11 millimeters thick is more than enough, and the space is there. I've seen the teardown on that sucker. It's more than enough that they could put a little hatch door over here and a little hatch door over here, one for putting in an SSD or an NVMe stick drive, and the other hatch is going to be for your RAM upgrade. Either you do 2 hatches and go side by side with the RAM, which would be practical, of course, or you can stack them. 11 millimeters for a stack, not very practical. 11 millimeter thickness of a computer for side by side of all this, definitely doable. Definitely. So, anyways, I don't know why Apple didn't think of that one. Of course, again, they want to proprietarize this sort of stuff. So, that sort of thing, I think we need to, complain to Apple about. Hey, we'll buy your computers. We'd love your computers, but we would really appreciate having our own ability to upgrade the RAM ourselves and save a bundle of money and replace our hard drives when we need to. Because, Apple has had some SSD drive failures, and that means replacing the whole motherboard. And that's exactly what gets done. Like, Apple is not sitting there on a bench paying one of their techs to, unsolder your hard drive and replace it. It's very delicate work. It's very time consuming. And Apple, I'm sure, is not doing that. They're just replacing your motherboard. That, or they may even get to the point they'll just replace your whole computer under warranty, depending on what dies, right? So it's kind of one of those things where we got to get away from the disposable society a bit more. And, hey, RAM's RAM, hard drive's a hard drive. Let's change the stuff out, right? I mean, think of it this way. I have an NVMe hard drive in my tower. It goes right to my motherboard. And I put it in, and it's over 3,000 megabits per second read and write. How much faster do you need than that? Even 1,200 megabit per second read and, 900 write? Like I said in my MacBook Air. I mean, that is insane speeds for that drive. I mean, you really don't need any faster than that, especially in that old laptop. But anyways, that's what I got for you guys. Let me know what you guys think. I mean, there's got to be some more downsides to this, I'm sure, but, not a whole lot of downsides, but definitely a lot of good pluses. And kudos to Apple for stepping up to the plate and doing this ahead of being forced to. And I really do look forward to, being able to get full parts access eventually Definitely because I work on computers for people, and yeah, you know, I don't work for a dealership anymore, so I kind of get limited onto what I can actually get myself directly. So this would take that right out of the picture, and I'd be able to get everything again, you know, which would be awesome. Anyhow, guys, thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.